Good morning, swans and falcons, and welcome to Monday's maths lesson. Okay, today's date is Monday the 18th of January, and here is our learning intention for today. Can I understand percentages and use them to solve problems? So you might like to pause the video now just so you can write the learning intention down and then restart when you're ready to move on. First up then, let's just do some warm-up questions and do a bit of revision of the stuff that we've been learning in the last couple of weeks. So we have 3/10 as a decimal. I'd then like you to write 0.06 as a fraction. And then we have a couple of decimal calculations, so multiplication and division that I'd like you to work on, please. So pause the video now, have a go at those, and then restart the video when you're ready to go through them together. Okay, so let's look. 3/10 as a decimal. Okay, we have 3/10. So we need to think about which column is the tenths column. Okay, and we know it's the one to the right of the decimal point, don't we? So that as a decimal, oops, always do that. Remember to put it back on the pencil, Miss Carlia. Okay, so that as a decimal would be 0.3. Okay, let's look at this then. 0.06, that decimal there. The value of the 6 is the hundredths column, isn't it? So we have 6 hundredths. So that would look like this. 6 over 100, 6 hundredths. Okay, our next question is 2.6 times 7. I'll come over this side to do this one as I've got a bit more space. Okay, 2.6 times 7. Okay, so I'm doing 7 lots of 6. Okay, 7 sixes. I know my times tables really well. 7 sixes are 42. So 7 lots of sixths must be 4.2. So I'm going to put the 2 in the tenths column. Remember to put my decimal point in and go and carry the 4 over into the units column. So I have my 4.2. Now I'm going to do 2 times 7. 2 times 7 is 14, plus the 4 is 18. Hopefully you got 18.2 as your answer. And finally we're going to do 3.24 divided by 4. 3.24 divided by 4. Okay, so 4's into 3 don't go, do they? Okay, the 4 is bigger than the 3, so cross that off, put 0 here, carry 1 there, and put the 3 over here. 4's into 32, go 8, and then 4's into 4, go once. Okay, so my answer is 0.81. What could I do to double check my answer? Have a think. That's right, I could do the inverse, and the inverse of division is multiplication. So to double check my answer, I could do 4 times 0.81 and see if I get 3.24 as my answer. So you might want to have a go at that now and see if that works. Okay? And then restart when you're ready. But let's move on to today's lesson. Okay, so today we are looking at percentage, and percent means parts in 100. Okay, so here I have 100 square. Can you see that? Is that quite clear? 100 square, and I've got some of it shaded in. So I want to think about what percentage of my 100 square is shaded in. Now we know from the lesson we did last week that each of these columns in the 100 square is worth 10. Okay, and because we know that percent is parts in 100, each column is worth 10%. So I have 10%, 20%, 30%, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 36 squares shaded. So 36 out of 100 of my squares are shaded, which is equivalent of 36%. Let's have a look at another example. Oh, this one's a bit more tricky, isn't it? Because the things are dotted around. So I need to count my squares. So I know I've got 10. Well, let's go this way actually. This will be easier. So 10, 20, 30. I'm just going to quickly put dots in these so I know I've counted them. So that's 30, 31. I have 8 there. So extra 8 will be 39. 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49% is shaded because 49 out of 100 is shaded, which is the same as saying 49%. Okay, so what percentage, if percent is out of 100, parts of 100, what percent is not shaded? Have a think. That's right, 51%, is not shaded because 51 plus 49 equals 100. Okay, here's a blank 100 square. If I wanted you to shade in 17% of the 100 square, how many squares would I need to shade in? Have a think. Pause the video if you need time to think and then restart when you're ready. Okay, well we know that percent is out of 100 and I've got 17%. So for my 100 square I need to shade in 17 squares. Whoa, and I know one column is 10 and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there I have, I've shaded in 17%. Oh, I put my teeth in, Miss Carlia, today. Okay, moving on to the next one. Now, grown bar model. But bar models are brilliant for percentage. Okay, so if this is my 100%, so all of this is 100%, and this has been divided into how many equal parts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 equal parts. What would one part be worth? What would that one part be worth? It would be worth 10%, because there's 10 tens in 100. So if all of that is 100%, one part will be 10%. What about, let's change colour here, what about if I shaded half of that shape? What percentage is shaded there? That's correct, it's 50%. What about if I divided that in two? I've got a quarter of the shape shaded now. What percentage have I shaded? I have shaded 25%. So if we know one square is 10%, oh, it's getting very colourful now. What is half of a square going to be? That's right, it's going to be 5%. Okay, so we can use these bar models and these 100 squares to help us to solve questions, solve problems. So I have a problem here, 100 sweets in a jar and 10% are lemon sherbet. Okay, I like a lemon sherbet. How many of the sweets are lemon sherbets if 10% of the jar are? So if we know that, oh, I'll get there eventually, swans and falcons. Okay, so I know that this represents 100% and I know there are 100 sweets in the jar. So this bar model represents 100 sweets. Okay, and I know that 10% are lemon sherbet, and I know from before that 10% is one square. So if 10 squares are 100 sweets, one square is going to be 10 sweets. So 10 of the sweets are lemon sherbets. Oh dear, that doesn't look like sweets, does it? Shocking writing. What if, rather than 100 sweets in the jar, I had 200 sweets in the jar? How many sweets would then be lemon sherbets if I had 200 sweets in the jar? 200 divided by 10 to give me 10% would be 20 sweets. 20 lemon sherbets in the jar. Okay, let's have a look at a problem now that involves the 100 square. So I have a problem here. Miss Carlia has £100 to spend. She spends £30 on petrol. She spends 45% on food. What percentage of money does she have left? So let's think about what's the really important information in this question, okay? I know that I have £100 to spend. I spend £30 on petrol and 45% on food. And I want to know what percentage I have left. So I can use the 100 square to help me with this. So I know that I've spent £30 on petrol. Okay, so 30 out of 100. I've got my 100. Imagine each one of these squares is worth £1 and I've got £100. How many squares am I going to need to shade in for £30? Have a think. That's right, I need to shade in 30 and I know each column is worth 10. So I need to shade in 3 columns. Okay, I'm not going to spend ages colouring it in. So there's my £30 spent on petrol. Now I know that I spend 45% on food and we know that percent is out of 100. So I need to shade how many squares to show 45%. 45 out of 100, I'm going to shade in 45 squares, aren't I? So again, I know each one is 10, so I can shade in, let's change colour for this. Let's go for orange now. Okay, so I'm going to shade in my 45. So I know each column is worth 10, so I can straight away do 4 columns and that'll be my 40. And then I need to do another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. That orange represents how much I've spent on food. So I've got the pink, which shows petrol, the orange, which shows food. But the question asks me, what percentage of money do I have left? So I need to look at how many unshaded squares there are left to know whether or not, to know how much I have left. Okay. So I've got 2 columns unshaded. So I know that's 20%. And then I have 21, 22, 23, 24, 25%. So left is 25% of the money I have left. Okay. Now hopefully that's been clear for you. Have a go at the sheet. Any problems, then please post on your blog and either myself or Mrs. McGill or Mrs. Jennings will respond to your query. But good luck. Hopefully you found that okay. And I'll see you soon. Bye.